The audio you are about to listen to was taken from our Instagram live stream. Welcome, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends to Spoiler Sleepover, a Nerd Camp Network production.
So this is our very first episode, and
Absolutely.
we're going to be having potentially some technical difficulties, but that's completely fine. It's expected for doing the type of thing that we're doing.
Gotta iron out all the kinks from the first episode.
Yeah. Well, this whole thing kind of started. We're not gonna just jump right into the meat of the episode. We really want to just kind of like let you know who we are a little bit, and then kind of give you an outline of what this is going to be. If anybody has seen my posts recently, then you kind of have an idea of what we're going to do. So I'll start it off with just how this came to be. Jason, Michael, and myself ended up meeting through like one of the greatest horror podcasts ever, Camp Nightmare. We're both rocking our merch right now.
Gotta rep it.
So, hell yeah, we do. We ended up chatting just a little bit here and there through Instagram, thusly why this seemed like the right way to go. Trying to do the live thing also.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just audio pre-recorded. We're going to stumble over our words. We know that, and we're ready for it. But we tend to text each other off and on about different movies, and you're the only other person, aside from my brother, that will straight up just text me through a movie. like, this is happening? Are you kidding me? And I love it. And I was like, man, it'd be awesome to do that in person. So I kind of just shot the idea out there, and I said, hey, it'd be kind of cool if we could just do that live. Like, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
But the thing
our
was,
second episode to happen.
yes, me too. So actually, it's perfect too, because this one we both really loved this movie.
Oh,
no.
Have you said anything about it before? We will be talking spoilers, hence the whole name of this podcast or livecast, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. No, I didn't get into that. I was leading into that, but yeah, it's in the title. We are going to spoil the movie. So if you have not seen the movie, like, we've given you enough warning what we're talking about.
You've had your chance.
Yeah, we're not holding back. We're not gonna like hint at things. We're gonna full on tell you, like, this is, hey, this happens and that happens. So
Bruce
at this
Willis
point, yeah. At this point, if you haven't seen the movie, and you plan on seeing the movie, as much as we don't want to lose viewers, it might be good for you to leave. But if you have no intention on seeing the movie or having it spoiled, then please stay. Like, it's plain and simple. Spoiler sleepover. We're spoiling every movie. We're going to be doing it once a week. We'll spoil a movie for you.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, we're talking about, it came out a week ago, Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
Part of the ever expanding franchise of Evil Dead movies, starting back in the 80s with The Evil Dead. So
The Evil Dead. Before we get into that, though, let's do a little bit of like feeling around with each other. So I would like to know, like, has there been anything you've been watching recently or like listening to, podcast or music wise, that like you're like hooked on?
well, we all know and love Camp Nightmare as the podcast. We love that. Yeah, I got a few different podcasts that I'm listening to. Basically, if you've ever heard of Rooster Teeth, it's a bunch of old like video games, Red versus Blue and stuff like that. Some of their podcasts. One of my favorite shows just came back on Prime. It's a show called From. It's on season 2. We were talking with Bree about it, who's also from Camp Nightmare, their ops manager. So I have to talk with her a bit more about that. But From's second episode for season 2 came out today, and it's just the ever expanding universe of what is happening. But
Nice.
other than that, the only music I'm really listening to right now is gearing up for Avenged Sevenfold's new release for the first time in 7 years, in about just over a month. So I'm excited.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was never an Avenged Sevenfold fan, even though I've seen them 3 times. And I've seen them 3 times because they put on an amazing show. For music I don't like, their live shows are bonkers. They're so good. But I mean, if they're playing with somebody I like, I'll go see them again. I haven't seen From yet. It's on my list. I keep putting it off. I was actually going to start it yesterday, and instead I started and finished Swarm, also on Prime, and that was great. It was dark. It was violent. Kind of left a lot of mystery at the end there, but yeah, it's good. It's good. It's
Cliffhangery.
In a sense, yeah. The ending leaves more of a question. It's more like, did the ending actually happen?
Oh no.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, did this really happen, or like,
It's like
is
Inception.
it all? Yeah. But it's really good. I love Donald Glover. He did Atlanta. That show is awesome.
Yeah.
So I figured that this has got to be good too, and it was. I mean, he brought it again. So yeah, I've been listening to Behind the Bastards a lot.
Okay.
That was a suggestion from JV, actually, from Camp Nightmare. And he mentioned it in one of the recent episodes, and I texted him. I was like, what was the name of that podcast again? And I got into it, and I'm like, 10 episodes in, and I'm learning a lot about really messed up people, and I'm really enjoying it. I probably shouldn't be enjoying it as much as I am. But yeah, that's been it. I've kind of been reading a little bit here and there, but nothing too crazy. I'm still working on this book called Man, Fuck This House. And it was a suggestion from my brother. I mean, he's got a great taste in horror books. Like that's what he reads.
Nice.
Solely reads horror. So he suggested that one, and I'm about halfway through, and it's confusing as hell, but it's really good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I had like a week off in between jobs because I quit my job, and so I caught up with a bunch of stuff, watched an obscene amount of films, and watched Infinity Pool, which was fantastic. Yeah, you'll have to watch that one because that'll be a fun episode.
Absolutely. We've already got a few in the works. We had a meeting before this, came up with a whole bunch of idea episodes. Because normally Rob and I will just go back and forth. It's like, what about this movie? What about this movie? You got to check out this movie. We've already got, I would say, at least 4 or 5 more things to talk about for future episodes.
Yeah, we'll do an exact count. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 movies total.
I really undershot that.
Oh, actually 10 if we include next week's.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah. So 10. And some of those are going to be multi-part episodes too, which will be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Already going big.
Yeah. Going real big. All right. So let's actually like jump into this because I saw it opening night. I drove 3 hours to Connecticut to go see it with my brother because he was like, "Hey, this is your jam. I liked the reboot. Well, call it a reboot from now. We'll get into why I don't think it's a reboot anymore." But he liked the reboot. Didn't like the originals, which is weird. But he was like, "Come down. I'll buy tickets." So yeah. So we ended up. I ended up driving down there. We saw it. We saw it in like the big giant like RPX or whatever they are theaters. Seats rumbled and everything.
Oh yeah.
It was awesome. So yeah, it's been a week, but it's burned in there. Like you just saw it yesterday, correct?
I absolutely just saw it yesterday, not in a nearly cool of fashion, in a theater that I'm shocked is not closed. I've only been to it twice within the past 10 years, and I'm shocked that it's even still functioning. The parking lot's a mess. I saw Dark Knight Rises opening week in 2012, and then The Meg, which, oh boy, in 2018. I was hoping for so much more with that movie, but
I liked it. I knew what I was getting myself into, but it's Statham. Like, put Statham in something, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, but like the opening scene, and I thought it was all gonna take off from there, and it says one day earlier after that. I had no idea what the hell I was about to walk into. But can I just say that is the best opening title card I have ever seen in a movie.
I clapped. Like I didn't care. I was the only person, but I was like, yes, this is exactly what we need.
So like, I mean, I kind of had a feeling. I'm like, wow, this Kandarian demon in the very beginning is very janky. It looks almost like a drone shot, and then lo and behold, boom, it's a drone.
It's a drone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an awesome way to bring back that like iconic camera angle too. Because I was like, all right, is he going to just not copy, but like do an homage to Raimi's directing style the entire movie? No, it was a tease. It was just like, I'm gonna give you a little one of these, and then there you go. Yeah, it was perfect. But yeah, that intro into that was amazing, and also understandably confusing because you're like, wait, why are we here?
How are we here? Yeah.
Can I also say that cabin is awesome? Yeah. Like the A-frame, I was like, oh my gosh. And all I was thinking the entire time when we first saw it, I'm like, dude, the camera shots they could do through an A-frame. Like, you can do some real trippy stuff because, like, have you been in an A-frame house before?
I'm pretty sure my aunt's lake house used to be very similar to that.
Dude, it's disorienting. Like, it's cool to look at outside, but once you're in there, it's an A-frame. Like, the house is just basically two walls and then two imaginary walls if you want. The front and the back are like there, but it's a weird feeling.
It looked nice from the outside, but the inside was very desolate almost.
Yeah.
It seemed very ramshackly.
Oh yeah, perfectly. Yeah. So the opening of the movie happens in the woods on a lake. We get two deadites.
Yep.
Yeah. So you get these two deadites, and then it just immediately cuts and brings you to the previous day in this old skyscraper. It's not really a skyscraper, but it's a very tall building.
It's an old rundown apartment complex that basically is just, it has no business even still being operational.
Right.
It's like a corner side of a random, I can't even remember where they were. Were they in New York?
LA.
Or where were they? LA.
Yeah.
And I just saw it yesterday. Damn.
Yeah.
I wasn't focusing
I was just
on the location. I was focusing on the chaos.
And I was just thinking about that too, because I was like, wait, where was it? But it was California. I want to say it's LA. It's California. I know that much. And I'm pretty sure it's LA because there are some really janky areas of LA, and that definitely seems like Skid Row-y. Like it's kind of like
because there was the earthquake and everything. But we'll get into into that part. It starts with our main character, Beth, as a guitar technician, finding out, lo and behold, bringing another life into the world. I don't think it was intended based on the look on her face.
No.
So
definitely not.
Yeah. Flies back to see her sister, Ellie, and her 3 kids, Cassie, Bridge, and Danny, I think it was. Which, before all this, you told me specifically to look at the wallpaper.
Yes.
And there was few times where I could actually focus on the wallpaper based on what was happening, but I did love the Mo, Larry, and Curly thing in Danny's room.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, I get that reference, but it was just so much chaos was going on. I couldn't really understand the wallpaper at that moment.
So here's the cool thing. Now, I love these movies. Like I've got a hat on, I've got a T-shirt on, I got my blanket behind me specifically for specifically for this episode. I've seen all of the movies more times than I can count. I've watched Ash vs. Evil Dead straight through 5 times now. About to do my 6th watch through. I've seen them all. So the cool thing that I picked up was each room has different wallpaper.
Yeah.
And there's one lampshade. All of the wallpaper from each of those rooms are from a different movie, like from the past. So
no, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it. Oh no. What a shame.
I immediately picked it out. I was just like, oh snap. I was like, that's the wallpaper from this. And the first thing I noticed was the lampshade. I was like, that looks like the wallpaper from the original movie. I'm like, no, that couldn't be. It can't be. It's just a coincidence. And then I saw the wallpaper in one of the rooms. I was like, wait a second. I'm like, I don't think this is a coincidence at all.
Yeah.
Like, this is intentional. There's a lot of that throughout this movie. There's a moment when the sisters are talking in that like hallway, and there's a bunch of art and pictures on the wall.
Yeah.
And there is a painting like smack dab in the middle of a volcano. Now, if you go through, here we go, this is my deep dive. Go into Ash vs. Evil Dead, they actually mention there are 3 Necronomicons, right? That's mentioned in the original film, but they bring it up again in Ash vs. Evil Dead. Now,
hence why this one doesn't have a face on it.
Right. That's the 2nd book. This movie has the 3rd book, which they mentioned was forged from the burned sacrifices, something about a volcano. So I was just like, wait, are they like, is that a painting depicting where this Necronomicon came from? So it was just me picking things out. I've done a little digging and can't find anything about it. So it could just be me piecing together a puzzle that doesn't exist. But I thought it was cool. But yeah, so the sister Beth comes back, right?
Yeah.
To her tattooist older sister.
Yes.
Who has 3 kids. And only one of them is the coolest kid ever. And that's the youngest, who we immediately see lob the head off of a doll and create the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life, Staphne.
I let out an audible laugh in the theater. I mean, it was only me and 3 other people because, again, this is how janky this theater was. But it was just like, how could you not laugh at that?
Seriously. It's amazing. It was foreshadowing, too. There were 2 moments that I picked up of foreshadowing. When she was working on her tattoo gun, trying to get the speed right, I'm like, that's foreshadowing. And then Staphne, which is, it's not even foreshadowing. It's like, this will be used. Like, like
basically anything and everything you see up until this point will come into play later, whether it's against or from the Deadites.
Yeah.
And
it's Staphne's the best, and all of the, like, I follow a lot of websites and like Instagram accounts that make horror merch, and out of all of the Evil Dead Rise merch that's been released, no one's made a Staphne piece of merch yet. That kind of annoys me. I'm like,
the Cheese Raiders there, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah,
but
that shirt design is awesome, by the way. Like, I want that shirt.
I want the one that it's Evil Dead Rise, and it's just Ellie's face screaming behind it. That one looks sick.
I haven't seen that one. Okay,
I'm gonna have to show it to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Beth comes back and is all like, "Oh, I got this for you, presents for you, present for your dad," and lo and behold, dad split. Believes in paying child support, and that's fathering and parenting from afar.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch. So essentially,
which could be something that helps later. We'll
yes.
let's get through this, but I have so much I'm excited to bring up.
So Ellie sends the kids out to go get pizza. Meanwhile, an earthquake happens when they return, unearthing what we heard briefly before was the apartment building was built on an old bank. So the old remnants of a bank, and the earthquake happens, shatters open a piece of the floor, and Danny, our DJ, who's got the Three Stooges wall behind him, he decides, you know what? I haven't seen this movie. Let's go into the dark and scary hole in the ground. Absolutely. Great idea, sport. So goes down there. I knew
I'd do it. Are you kidding me? The old bank vault? All I'm thinking is there's gonna be money down there. I'm going.
Yeah.
Like I'm that.
There was a brief moment because he opened the safety deposit box. Nothing. There's a brief moment where it's like you hear something behind him and it's like, I don't think they're gonna do it this early, but there is a jump scare where it's just the cross falls forward. I was like, oh,
it's
all right,
Jesus.
that's one. Yeah.
I even said it out loud. It was the only moment in the entire movie that I actually jumped and I said, Jesus Christ. Got audible laugh from other people in the theaters because I was just like, well, yeah, it was a little on the nose, but it's true. Like, it startled me. So
So essentially he continues to, go through, ignores all the obvious warning signs of handmade little crosses and such hanging above this nice little crypt-looking box with a bunch of Benedictine or whatever coins on it. Hi, Brie. She's saying hi.
hey, Brie.
And lo and behold, there's a giant box and takes out the box, a bunch of records in it, and lo and behold, we get the Necronomicon, or one of the Necronomicon.
Yep.
So this one.
Here's the cool thing. So this is another connecting. I'm just gonna connect pieces this entire time. But the protective coin, that name on there is the knight that was set to protect the Necronomicon in Army of Darkness.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I saw the name and I'm like, I know that name, and then it hit me. I was like, he done fucked up. He didn't protect it. Like he was supposed to
go back,
watch
all the Evil Dead's Army of Darkness again, and then rewatch Evil Dead Rise. Yeah. Oh God, what such a dilemma I have. So he brings, as he would, all the books, all the records up to his room. He's got his own little DJ thing, so he's got his turntables and everything.
Hold on. So when he sees the records, the first record he sees is 3. It's the third record.
Yeah.
Which is just immediately letting you know, like, to the fans of the franchise, letting you know, like, hey, this is the third Necronomicon. Even though it's the third record to be played, it's letting you know, like, hey, this is also the third Necronomicon, which is perfect. So,
real deep dive. I love it.
That's what I'm here for.
So they go back up. Obviously, Beth and Ellie are worried, and it's like, oh my God, we're meeting all of our extra characters with the old grizzly man and the end of the hall. We got the hunk, if you will, showing up, just looking like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And then there were 2 other kids that showed up briefly that wanted to hang out with Bridget, and she's like, nah, bye, see ya. So everybody's okay. Pizza didn't make it. That's okay. She loves them more than pizza.
The pizza could have made it, by the way. Like, oh, yeah. I don't care what condition pizza's in. It didn't fall out of the box.
Yeah. A little bit sauce on the top of the box. It's fine.
Yeah. Kids wasted that money, man. That pizza was still edible.
Little do we know the pizza's still on the ground of that parking structure to this day.
So a little bit of knowledge too is the for the life of me can't remember his name right now, but the older gentleman who has the boomstick at the end of the hallway, he's actually in a couple episodes of Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Oh shit! I didn't
The same actor.
recognize that.
Yeah, he's not playing the same character, but I thought it was cool when he walked on screen. I was just like, wait a second. I was like,
I know you.
Yeah. So yeah, he was on Ash versus Evil Dead. I was just like, that's kind of cool that they brought him back for another property.
Yeah. So lo and behold, go back into there, and they're like, "Oh, what's this book?" It's like, maybe don't try and pry open the book with the giant sharp teeth, keeping it closed. Cuts open Danny's finger. Blood drips on the book. Blood's absorbed into the book. Book opens.
Yeah.
Immediate red flag, but we need to progress the movie in one way or another. So
the book needs to feed, and that's something that like has carried through.
Yeah.
The book needs blood. It's bound with human flesh. The pages are human flesh. It's inked with human blood. And to bring it to life, it needs to feed. And that's all three of the books are exactly the same. It happens in the 2012 Evil Dead film. Dude cuts through freaking barbed wire and pulls open a garbage bag. There's a note on that thing that says, "Do not open, do not read out loud." He does it. Like
semantics. I will say one of the first Easter eggs I caught onto was seeing the book open, and one of the first pictures is drawn in blood, and it's just like a hand reaching up like that, and it looks exactly like that. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I know that. I get that reference.
Yeah, that's also something that's really cool is that all three books they depict different things. So like the book one, the original Army Evil Dead 2 Army of Darkness, that book itself shows more of like just Deadite, like possession stuff happening. Some sacrifice, but nothing too crazy. The second book shows a ton of it, like, and we only end up seeing, I think, 2 or 3 things played out on screen. Whereas this movie, all the pages we end up seeing get played out. Like, we get to see everything that is shown in the Necronomicon play out in the movie.
Yeah. And a lot of the time it refers back to those pages just to be like, hey, we're doing this. You thought it looked bad in pages. No, you're about to see it.
And I have a complaint about that, but we'll wait till we get to that. It's at the end of the movie. But
okay. I think I know which part you're going on to. So he reads the book, and Bridget's like, yo, close it, get rid of it. And it's like, Mom's not letting us out after the quake, so not trying it tonight. It's like, cool. Well, don't do anything with it. I'm going to go into the other room. Don't touch it. He doesn't listen.
That was supposed to be that one character, that one hard-headed asshole who ruins it for everybody else.
You just had to look at his haircut, and you knew. You knew.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to be a little sensitive about this too, because I don't recall a single time in the movie where that character is referred to as he.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not 100% sure that character is male or female. Like, they may have gone more sensitive with things, and that character may be a they them. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to need to watch it for a second time to kind of pick it out. But when they walked on, they kind of had that look about them, and I was like, ooh. I'm like, okay, we're going to make this very modern with this. I'm kind of digging it. But I'm not sure. I don't recall a pronoun being thrown at that character at any point in time, but I could be wrong. But so they make some bomb-ass music, and they have great taste. They had an MF Doom sticker. I was like, there's an MF Doom sticker.
that was a good shout-out right there.
Yeah, it was awesome.
As you do with records, mainly with Pink Floyd, it starts sounding a little weird and going forward, so you start spinning it backwards to hear the Hail Satan. So what do we hear besides the priest saying, hey, Hail Santa, hey, don't open this book, don't play these records, whatever you do, I have to go to the council and be like, hey, what do I do with this? And fun fact, one of the voices that's saying, get rid of the book, don't even touch it, is Bruce Campbell.
Wait, really?
Yep.
I
I
didn't
looked it up
even know
mid
that.
movie when he's spinning the things. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, he's one of the voices basically saying, "Put that book back where it came from, or so help me. Swear to God, like don't touch it, leave it be."
Oh, that
So
is so cool. Yeah, I didn't pick that up. So there you
yeah,
go. I've got all this extra knowledge and all these these theories and stuff like that, and you actually taught me something this time. That's
and
awesome.
I've got the few little nuggets of information. So spins it, then start speaking the words "conduct," and that's when shit goes south.
The mom's possession, man, it was cool. I
Mhm.
love the whole elevator sequence was really cool. Um, my brother said that was in one of the trailers, and it was kind of spoiled and for him. I only ever watched the teaser trailer,
Yeah,
so like I didn't see it, but he said that like that way she was like splayed out was cool. My disappointment is okay, so we're doing the woods thing, but in
yep,
an elevator.
the whole tree thing.
She never got penetrated, and I'm a little disappointed by that. I know it's fucked up to say, but
Phrasing.
it happened. It happens in Evil Dead.
Yeah.
It happens in Evil Dead 2. It happens in the 2012 Evil Dead. Also, like trees penetrate people. Like, all right, cool. Why can't an elevator do it? What's the issue here? Why are we missing that one element? That was a bad motion, but the correct motion for it, I guess. But
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. I was like, oh shit, she's gonna get fucked by this elevator. Didn't happen. I'm like, okay, well, but that whole sequence was very well shot.
Like when the first cable comes down, it looked very stop motiony. So there's a few stop motion things in this movie, or at least that look it, that harken back to Evil Dead and a lot of the stuff they used to do. So it's great seeing some of that where it looked like it could have been stop motion. It could have been wire work. It's not all CG, and it's fantastic.
Oh, it was great. So yeah, mommy gets possessed. She becomes a deadite and walks back into the apartment and just ignores the kids. Everyone's like, "Are you okay?" She goes into the kitchen,
starts
and does
cooking up a lot of eggs for this economy. Man, a lot of eggs wasted. There's my one joke.
There you go.
Nailed it.
I love it. I mean, I wouldn't pay full price for those eggs. They had a lot of blood in them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So she smashed a bunch of eggs in a pan. Maybe symbolism for destroying children.
Yeah.
Her own progeny. I don't know. It seemed very random, but yeah. Then she is revealed that she's a deadite to the kids, and that's pretty much the movie. Just goes nonstop. It's full throttle from that point on.
It leads me into one of my personal favorite parts of the movie. And yes, it was in the trailer. Every time I heard it in the trailer, I was like, oh, that's cool, blah, 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 blah. As I sat with it, and when the movie finally came out, I thought more on that line, and it's one of the darkest things I've ever heard, is when they bring her into the bathtub. It's like, oh my God, she's burning up. Put her in there. She hops up on the ceiling, screams. Everybody in the whole top floor of the apartment complex is like, oh shit. And mind you, at this point, from the quake, the stairs have been taken out. The elevator's basically a flip of a coin. It could work. It could kill everybody. But when she comes back down and Cass comes up and goes, Mom? Or no, it was Danny. And goes, Mom? And she goes, Mommy's with the maggots now. It's like, fuck you! I had chills at that part because it's like, that is a dark line where it's like, oh, sweetheart. No, Mommy's dead.
Yeah, mommy's gone.
Yeah.
And such an amazing moment too. Like I've gotten to the point with new movies where I don't watch trailers. If I know there's a teaser, I'll watch a teaser, like a 30-second teaser or whatever. I'll watch that because trailers nowadays, it's been going on for 15 years or so.
Yeah.
But trailers now like they tell you the movie. Like they take all the good parts and spoil them. Like, all right, to bring up Camp Nightmare again, JB and Jordan make a really good point. Smile, that one of the scariest moments in that movie, Smile, is in the trailer. And
I'm so glad I didn't see it.
it takes away so much, because like even after watching the entire movie, that sequence is dark. Like it's disturbing, and it would have worked so much better if they hadn't showed it. So that's why like I avoid trailers totally, because there's so many things, like people see things in these trailers and I'm like, man, yeah, I couldn't imagine having anything like that spoiled for me ahead of time. It would have driven me nuts. But yeah, so mom attacks.
Mom's in the tub, comes out with like a glass shard, and they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Hang on." Kids go that way. Beth gets stabbed in the hand, and then she sees Bridget, tackles Bridget right next to her tattoo machine, which,
yeah,
as we saw, it was a little bit foreboding. She sticks it in her temple first, and then tries to do a little nice SoundCloud rapper face tattoo on her. Which, if we've seen Evil Dead before, mixing Deadite blood with regular blood does not end well.
No. Which also brings one of the coolest moments, which was stop motion as far as I can tell. But we'll get to that when we get to that, because that's a little bit a ways away.
Yeah.
So yeah, mom gets incapacitated, I guess. Yep. Like any Deadite, there's no way to actually stop them.
Yep. And eventually, like, she wakes back up, and here comes the neighbors, like, "Oh, what's this?" And she gets distracted, chomps out the dude's eyeball.
Yeah,
this part I kind of chuckled at. I thought it was a little cheesy, but in the grand scheme of things, and it being Evil Dead, I was okay with it. Chomps out the eyeball. One of the other kids goes, "Oh my God!" She spits it, and it goes straight into his mouth. He starts choking. They lock her out in the hallway. Cool. She's perfectly fine. Now, earlier, all the neighbors were like, "We got to get into this fire or this extra empty apartment. Yeah. We got to break it open." He's like, "I can get my shotgun." It's like, well, people are already on edge. We don't need the shotgun. That guy comes back out with said shotgun. Shoots.
Well, that's at the end. That's closer to the end. You forget in the part where she kills a whole kid. Mommy killed an entire child, which I was just like, yes, dude. We're killing
Rips his arms off.
The movie just started, and at that point in time, I was just like, they can do anything. They can kill all three of her kids now. They can. One of my favorite phrases from another movie, they could defetus her sister.
Jeez.
Okay. So, yeah, Terra Firma, which is Terra Firma. Okay. Yeah, one of the trauma films. It's the very opening of the movie where this serial killer is on the loose, and it's all like jokey things, like somebody's, serial killer on the loose, and it's somebody killed with a cereal and spoon, and then it's a pregnant woman sunbathing, and she rips the baby out, and then the news article says, "Woman defetused." So
thank you, trauma.
Hell yeah, trauma. But at that moment, I went, okay, they can do anything. We've killed a teenager, we've killed a child, and then those two other dudes. And I mean, choking on an eyeball is hilarious. Also, a callback to Army of Darkness, where Bruce, so or Ash, Bruce, whatever. We'll call him whatever we want to call him.
That guy.
But yeah,
the chin.
Yes, the chin. Yeah. Speaking of, I've got more here. Like, I might be a fan. So
there's a lot of it. It's okay.
Yeah. So the mom's locked out. The kids block the door. They put like a bureau and a desk or some stuff in front of the door. They lock the door. Yeah. They got to keep her out.
I will say that the view of just through the peephole and that whole like action murder sequence is one of the coolest shots in the whole movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Just because it tells a lot even through a small pinhole. It looks awesome.
And that actress really, the way that she like embodies the movements and everything, it's like humanoid.
Yeah.
Like it's not your stereotypical, like she doesn't go old school Deadite with like the crackly movements and stuff like that. She
Yeah,
has her
there's a
moments
little
with
bit
the
of
toe
that.
drains, but
Yeah,
she really made it her own, and I really appreciate the fact that it was almost like a big bad. Like she was like a main boss, but you got the main boss at the beginning of the movie,
yeah.
and it was awesome. So then Danny, right? Yeah, Danny gets infected first after
No,
Mom.
Bridget does. So Bridget got the tattoo.
And that's
Yep.
one of those moments where, like in the original films, when someone gets affected, you get like the vines that like stop motion crawl out.
Mm-hmm.
She got stabbed. It happens on the side of her face, and I was just like, it was another moment where I wanted to yell like, yeah, but I didn't. Instead, I just kind of golf clapped because
Good show.
everybody was on. Yeah, everybody in the theater was on edge, and I could feel it in the theater, and I was just like smiling.
Your feet are very happy about it.
Dude, I was smiling from ear to ear the entire time. Like I must have looked like a maniac, but it was so good. And so she gets infected next, or becomes a deadite next, and then proceeds to eat glass, which was awesome because they do like a zoom in and you see the glass like push through her throat as she's swallowing it.
Yeah.
Oh my!
There's a lot of like
awesome.
throat and vomit stuff in this movie. Like Ellie vomits up a whole bunch.
Yeah, it's a white
like,
visceral liquid.
Yeah. The girl, I think her name's Jess in the very beginning, was doing it.
Yep.
And then Bridget's whole thing is it flips back to a page in the Necronomicon where it's just like a bunch of worms or tentacles coming out of the mouth, and it's just she starts hawking up piles and piles of worms. And it's very visceral and does great in this movie. So she's chomping on glass, and
then her sister feeds her Stephanie.
Oh, there's the whole cheese grater thing first, which when hearing sponsorships for this, it's like this, video sponsored by Evil Dead Rise. It's like you'll never look at a cheese grater the same way. Personally, I was expecting a lot more from it.
That was too.
It was just one done, and it left just a visceral mark. I mean, and it was great, but I was expecting more.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing though, because a lot of modern horror abuses certain things. Like they could have drawn that scene out. They could have gone for her face. Like they could have done anything, but they just did the back of the leg, and that's perfect. Like it just, it's perfect. Like just imagine. It doesn't matter where it is, but like the back of your leg. Oh, it's so uncomfortable.
I've got tattoos back there. I don't want a cheese grater anywhere near me at all. Yeah. So, she goes in, gets fed Stephanie, which is a great scene, as she pulls Stephanie out of the back of her head and just crumples. And we're like, oh, okay, things might be okay. Wrong.
Yeah, and then the oldest sibling ends up wrapping her up and tying her down, which is like, in theory, you did a good job. Yeah, but he just tied her around the waist.
Oh, me.
It's like,
at this moment too, Mom is still out in the hallway, talking with little Cass. So playing on the heartstrings of a little child and just being, no, Mommy and Daddy are back together. Don't worry about it. Everything's okay. What happens besides little child opens and unlocks the door and almost gets taken? They get her arm back out, and she's still out in the hallway, banging her head on the door and just screaming. There's a very quick, it's like I can't remember if it's like during Bridget's scene or it's something else is like dramatically happening, and then it just cuts back to the eye hole, and it's just Ellie screaming at the eye hole. And it was a great shot.
Oh, no.
But
that's beautiful.
Yeah. So Danny explains, found this book, found all these records, and he's like, I don't want to do anything. So Beth is like, cool, you go stay with your sister, make sure she's okay. I will take the brunt here. I will see what I can do and figure out all this nonsense. She starts listening to the records and gives, I don't know where it came from, but she gives him a butcher knife that was just in his room. I don't recall seeing it brought in there at any point in time, but just picks up a knife. Here, take this just in case.
Oh, he grabbed the butcher knife to open the teeth.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where that butcher knife came from. He already had that.
I just remember him trying to pry it open, and that's how he got cut. But, I mean, if he already had it, cool, then that's perfect.
I could be misremembering, but yeah, so she hands off a knife. The kids go, the non-possessed children are in the living room now, and hearing something in the vents. And the youngest says that the neighbor's cat gets in the vents sometimes, which is the funniest thing because it's like, that's a lot bigger than a cat.
Yep. There was, and she's just spinning around the records, just listening. And as that's happening, you see the sister who we thought was stabbed by Stephanie and is now dead. Her foot twitches. No, you fools. You thought you were safe. She comes back in one of the 2, maybe 3 moments that I actually went, huh, in this movie, where all of a sudden she's standing there, just walks out behind the sister, brother turns around, and all of a sudden she just glides at the camera. And it was horrifying.
She's still covered in the blanket. Like, that's the thing that is the best part about that is, like, they could have shown her full deadite, but instead they kept her like a ghost. Like an old school sheeted ghost, and the fact that she flew like that, it's like, oh, she's a ghost. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it was another one of those moments where I just I had so many moments. I was like, yes.
She tackles Danny back into the kitchen. He stabs her with the knife. She then pulls out the knife, stabs it into his arm, like right in the middle of the bicep.
Yeah.
Just lot of just things that make it go ugh in this movie in such a great way.
When they showed the arm and the knife movement, I almost said not again, because one of the worst kills I have seen on screen. Now keep in mind, I've seen Terrifier 2 more than once, and I still love it. No kill is worse than the kill in Halloween Kills, where Big John, Michael stabs Big John in the armpit. In the armpit? I was like, oh no!
Yep.
And then just thumbs his eyes out, but like the armpit. Like, I'm like, oh god. And so when she came at him with the knife, I was like, oh, not again. Like, I don't want to see an armpit stab again.
Yeah.
Oh man. But then, still, arm stabs. Like, I like the fact that writers and directors are getting a lot more inventive with how to like stab people in movies.
How do we kill somebody in a brand new way that hasn't happened before?
Yeah,
because everybody's seen a decapitation. Everybody's seen a knife to the head. We've basically seen all of it at this point. So
yeah, stupid, like, when you put my hand up to block the knife and the knife goes through the hand, you're like, why would you put your hand up? They're holding a knife.
That's why, I mean, we should totally do an episode on Terrifier, but like almost everything in Terrifier, there's of course, some normal tropes, but like there's some shit in there, like the infamous kills from both of those movies.
Oh yeah.
That will, like, I have him right there, and I've got plenty of friends that will say, I'm not watching that movie again. One of them's actually watching right now, and they know.
I love Terrifier too. I mean, Terrifier is it's the GOAT, but man, Terrifier 2 really turned that up to 11. It was just like, oh, you like Terrifier? Here, hold my beer. You're just like, wait, what?
From the first scene, it's on. It's on.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no hesitation. There's no. Damien Leone really just went and turned it up to 11 from the second that movie started. But we'll save that for another episode.
Terrifier 2 episode. Yeah. So Deadite gets stabbed in the stomach, and then there's like a can of air or something right next to the on stove from the eggs. Lights his sister on fire. She's charcoal on the ground, kind of already looking all bleh. And then meanwhile, the sound in the vents is not the cat. In fact, it is Ellie, who heard the cat out in the hallway and crawled up there. Now, I love cats, and I was very afraid that we were about to just watch a cat go kaput on screen. I was like, oh, please no. Thank God we didn't. So we're good. But Ellie crawls down through the vents into Danny's room. It's an off-putting scene where she just kind of spiders her way down, looking more stop-motion-y again, and then just pops up in the reflection, and sister backs away, and she puts her fingernail on the record, opens her mouth, and it's still projecting through her mouth. That was incredible.
That actress is perfect too, because like, she's beautiful as all hell, but she has like, she's so elongated in every way, like even like it looks like her mouth almost like unhinges, but like that's just all her. Like they could not have cast her better. Like it was, that moment was yet again another moment where I was just like, yes.
Well done. So she gets fought. Beth is thrown out into the main room where the brother is basically at this point screwed, and little Cassie, the little girl's hiding under the couch. In the very beginning of the movie, when she lopped off the doll's head with scissors, she goes, Mom goes, Cassie, where's my scissors? And she hides them under the couch. She goes, nowhere. Again, setting up for more shit in this movie.
That was the other one.
Which will come. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're on the same path here when we get to the ending. Yep. But she slides the scissors. Beth then takes them, stabs them up Ellie's nose. It was awesome. and she just slumps, and then we're like, okay, but what's next?
Such a great Deadite drop too, like where she just like someone put down a marionette doll, and just the blood, that solid like just trickle of blood coming out. It's just like, yes. They could have gone overboard, but they didn't.
Yeah. It wasn't like crumpled to the floor. It was just lying dormant.
Yep.
Just waiting for what's about to happen. So at this point, Beth is like, fuck this. We're out. Come on, Cassie. Unfortunately, your brother and sister, they're gone. She takes her out, and it's like, okay, we got to figure a way out of here. How do we do it? There's that apartment that the dude was hammering on earlier. We got to figure out a way to get out of here. Let's keep hammering away on that. Then she sees the shotgun. Good old boomstick.
Yeah.
Which we then find out as the brother, the sister, and mom reawaken again, come out into the hallway as Deadites. Everybody that was murdered in the hallway also now becomes a Deadite. It's a great way to show it happening by the old man with the shotgun grabbing her and just going, "That's my shotgun." It's like, ah.
Did you call her a bitch too?
No, he calls her worse than a bitch.
Oh yeah, it's the C word. He calls her a thieving. Yeah.
Yep. So that happened. The sister comes out into the hall.
Yep. And then she grabs the shotgun but shoots a leg off, shoots an arm off of her sister. Yep. Just fantastic.
This whole upcoming scene is just haunting, and it's fantastic. Where she's trying to load new shotgun shells, her and Cassie are backing up into the elevator. It's like, just don't look. And here come the kids. One of the pages was showing just a huge mesh of monster.
A homunculus.
Ugh. And just starts ripping into her torso, ripping into her sides. I thought it was going to be a completely different one, because there's one page where it just shows like everything peeled back. It kind of looks Hellraiser-y. I thought it was going for that one, but
we'll bring that back up once we get to the end of this, because I've got things.
Oh, okay.
Got things.
Neat.
Yeah.
So they start going and like trying to mesh together, chanting, "They're all going to be dead by dawn. Dead by dawn. Dead by dawn." And meanwhile,
it's the evil dies tonight. I was like, enough, dude.
See,
bring it back to Halloween Kills.
Yeah, but I gotta get behind the Dead by Dawn thing. The evil dies tonight. I have a shirt of it, and it's just funny to look down and go, "Oh, this is dumb." But
it's true.
The whole elevator has been just opening and closing this entire time since Mom got back up here. Turns out Cassie looks down. It's just Mom's keys that are in the way of it fully closing, and it shuts. It's perfect. You're safe, right? Oh, Oh. The elevator starts to fill with blood.
Which was spoiled for me. That scene was spoiled for me by Stephen King.
I can see why.
He posted on Twitter, of all places, and he was just like, this movie was amazing. And he did it 2 days before the movie came out. He got to see it ahead of time. And he was just like, there's even an elevator filled with blood. And I was like, you ass. Like, why would you say that? The movie's not even out yet.
I mean, it was enough to make King proud. It was enough to make King proud. Enough to make The Shining proud. Oh. So.
But, yeah, I mean, here we are spoiling movies for people. I guess it's just
it's all
cosmic karma.
Hey, guys. Hey, yeah, we're doing this now. So, in one final thing before the entire elevator fills with blood, it shows maximum occupancy and weight limit. I was like, okay, we're good. Whole thing comes crashing down.
Well, that's because the max weight ends up because mom and the re-emerged children are trying to get in through the top of the elevator. So we've got blood and then, like, what, 5 people?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm math good. 5 people, it's too much.
Yeah. Comes crashing down to the basement. Everything's fine. Doors open up. I was sitting there going, would we call this a nod to The Shining? Would we call it a Shining Easter egg? Would we call it just a direct Shining? What would we call it exactly?
Honestly, I think it was better than The Shining, but that's just because it's an Evil Dead property, so everything's better when it's Evil Dead. So.
Everything's better when it's covered in blood. Which, boy howdy, Beth and Cass are now red for the rest of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Just completely soaked in blood.
In one location for the rest of the movie, too, which is like, oh, man. So this harkens back to, like, the early 2000s. There was a movie that came out called P2, an entire horror movie that took place in a parking garage. This girl was being stalked by somebody in a parking garage. After I saw that, I had I'm always a little uncomfortable in parking garages. Like, even in the middle of the day, I'm like, I don't know. And so this happens again. Now, we've seen this parking garage twice now.
Yep.
3 times now. I don't know if I was the only one. I'm assuming I'm probably not the only person, but every time we saw the parking garage, I was looking for Sam Raimi's car.
Yep.
Because it's been in all of them. It was in, the originals and in the reboot. It was in that one too. Like, I'm like, all right, where is it? It's going to be in the background somewhere.
It was in Multiverse of Madness, just floating through.
It wasn't in this one. It wasn't in it. And that bummed me out more than anything. I mean, granted, his old car was a Buick, if I remember correctly. And the car that they're driving is a Buick. It's just not that one. So, but I just kept looking. I'm like, I'm going to need to find somebody who has a frame by frame to see if maybe I missed it. Maybe it is there and I just didn't see it. But we're in the parking garage and they are trying to get away, which they have a push button, like a garage door opener.
Yeah. Or the beep, I think they call it.
Yeah, which we see earlier when the kids are coming back with the pizza and it doesn't work really well. So you're like, of course this isn't going to work really well. So they're trying to hit it. And then
they're in the car clicking the thing and it's like, why won't this door open? Of course, why won't it open? Meanwhile, they're burning rubber because they hit a pothole and that builds up the smoke for the doors to swing open, but we don't see it yet. So the homunculus, we see it kind of walk through and it's like, that's terrifying. I hate that. Perfect. And there's a whole thing where it's just occasionally poking its head out around the car, where I feel like Beth and Cass are making a lot of noise.
A lot of noise.
But I mean, gotta have some form of suspense. So
you've got this awesome build up to this homunculus, right?
Yep.
We barely see it.
Yep. I can see that. Yeah. So it's
totally nuts.
Yeah. Then we see Alien versus Predator. It's all we see.
Fair point. Fair point. Yeah, I guess I don't know. With the way that horror's been recently, Barbarian being a good example of that. Which I won't get too much into this because that is a future episode.
That's on the list.
When you don't ever really expect to see like the monster in its entirety, and you do. Horror recently has been giving you a lot more. Like instead of like suggesting that something's happened, they show you more. So with the the painting in the book, if you will, blood painting in the book, I was expecting to at least see it longer than its death sequence. You know what I mean? Like maybe see it stand up once or something. But
It's very shadowed.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they get chased by Mommy Rebirth, the homunculus. And
the gate starts closing. They do a cool action slide underneath. It's like, oh, cool. Nah, she grabs Cass's foot and drags her back in. Bounces her off the hood of a car, practically dragging her away.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm once again going, all right, we've killed one kid. I guess technically 3 kids already. Are we killing a child? Like, this is a whole ass child. I'm like,
there's a few moments where it gets pretty close. Like one of the many foreshadowing events when the earthquake hits and the tailgate to the wood chipper and the whole lumber truck just pops open and go, we'll see you later in the final act. Got it.
Fonda. Fonda landscaping too.
Yeah. Throws Cass into the back of the truck and the whole homunculus just pokes in and they're making a bunch of like, be part of our family again kind of thing. And it's just, they pick up a chainsaw because you got to have a chainsaw in an Evil Dead movie. And, it catches a shotgun from Beth. That's right. It sneaks up, or Beth sneaks up, shoots it in the back with a shotgun. It turns around, throws the goddamn chainsaw at her. Somehow misses her. It was very, as much as I hate bringing up this movie, Texas Chainsaw 3D, very, very much so of that, I thought. Didn't work. But
that's one of JB's favorite movies, too.
Yeah, no, yeah. Everything does. But it's eventually, she gets the chainsaw. They start turning on the homunculus turns on the chipper, which Cassie comes up, turns off the chipper, and then one of the coolest looking parts of this movie where I'm sitting there going, there's Ash. There's Ash right there.
Yeah, buddy.
Is Beth standing up with the chainsaw soaked in blood and then says, come get some.
Come get some. Which was the first time I didn't hold back. And I said, yeah. I was like, yeah! In the theater. The only person who did it. The only person who made any noise, but I did not care at that point. I'm like, you're quoting Ash.
Yep.
This is like, look, come on. So that
little sidetrack with your statement there is there's a video because for Spider-Man No Way Home, it's been out at 2 years at this point. So if you don't know, welcome to the spoiler sleepover.
Yeah.
What happens is Matt Murdock shows up from the Netflix Daredevils, and I was excited. My theater had a great reaction to it on opening night. There's a video. Yep, there's a video where you see the stick come down, and it's just one dude going, yeah, because nobody else makes any noise. And I'd imagine it was the same exact thing for Come Get Some, and it's just Rob so excited.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what are you doing? Shut up.
My brother laughed. He was just like, of course. I was like, yeah, dude. Oh man. Yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, we'll just, she uses the chainsaw, forces the homunculus into the wood chipper to one of the longest sequences of just destruction.
Pure brutality of a wood chipper.
And brings back another hat, a little head nod or hat tip to 2012 Evil Dead with it raining blood.
Yep. Oh.
So, which was cool. I love that last little moment where her head is just sitting there and she tries to talk smack
Yep.
like about why, like, yeah. And she kicks the head into there. They get away, and then your stereotypical Valley girl walks down on her phone, all oblivious to everything, and then
Mhm.
realizes what's going on. And then you realize that this is the girl from the beginning of the movie, and she's on her way to the
I was
lake house.
Yeah, I was wondering how they were going to do it. I saw like a little finger just like squirming on the ground. I'm like,
Dude,
that's
so
not what's
glad-
going to happen, is it?
I am so glad you saw that, because like when we were walking out of the theater, my brother was like, I don't get it. Like what happened? I'm like, dude, there was a finger twitching on the floor. And he was like,
Mhm.
wait. And like I said it, and there were some dudes behind us leaving the theater, and they're like, wait, what? Like almost nobody caught it. I'm like, it was out of focus. It was like right at the bottom of the screen. Like it was there.
That's why
But like,
it's still there, baby.
yeah. So with all of that being said, we'll close it at that. Well, that's where the movie ends. Now it ties the end of the movie ties to the beginning of the movie.
Again,
which is a lake house.
With the coolest goddamn title card of all time.
Yes. And here's the thing. All right. So there is the potential, it's already been said, there's the potential of 2 more films, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they can go one of 2 ways with the next movie. And I'm just going to go into both of these right now. So at the end of this movie, upstairs in that building, there are still deadites.
Yeah.
The neighbors are still up there. They did not kill the neighbors. They did not destroy those deadites. So that building is still infected and infested with deadites. So we can go back and we can have an entire movie of just these deadites taking over a building, right? Which would be insanity. And the closer being they just tear down the building and just bury the deadites in there. But that's not going to stop them. So there's the potential of continuing Evil Dead Rise 2. But there's
Electric
also
Rise.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But then with the lake house, now you would easily think, oh well, no, it's one and done because they went there. No, because it's mentioned that there were friends invited,
Mm-hmm.
and they might not show up. Now my guess is they're gonna show up. So what we saw was it starting, and then the friends walk in to a deadite, just chillaxing there, ready to take over a bunch of unsuspecting victims. So we can have another Rise movie, and then another movie takes place back in the woods, which I'm all for.
Can I just say something I think I forgot to bring up? And it's in all of the Evil Dead movies. It's kind of in Army of Darkness a few times, but the feeling of being isolated and alone. Like the Evil Dead when that bridge curls up into like the hand, Evil Dead 2 when it's literally just Ash going crazy in a house, like being isolated on the top floor, just sitting there going, we're screwed no matter which way we look. There's no safe way out of this apartment. There's no safe way to get out the windows. It's like pouring rain. The homeless guy down in the alley can't hear us shouting like, hey, please help. Nothing.
No.
We're in so much trouble. It's a feeling of alone and isolation that Evil Dead has done well for many, many years.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was a very different type of isolation too, which I really enjoy, because I mean there's many moments where they could have attempted, like even with the elevator, instead of like, if they figured out the keys were there, they could have gotten down to another floor and like asked for help, but they would have just been bringing the evil down with them. And it also brings you back to that like supernatural horror movie trope thing, is that nobody ever believes anybody when they say like, oh, there's this, something's after me, and they're like, yeah, sure, crazy lady. Like nobody ever believes them. So here's the big thing. This was the thing I was waiting for until we were through all of this. So with this movie using the third Necronomicon.
Yeah.
And completely detached from Ash Williams and that storyline. This now makes the 2012 reboot its own story. It's no longer a reboot. That is the second Necronomicon. So the Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and Ash versus Evil Dead is Necronomicon 1.
Yeah.
Up until a point, which I'll get to. And then 2012 Evil Dead is the second Necronomicon, which now it's no longer a remake, it's no longer a reboot, it's just part of this Evil Dead storyline where all three Necronomicons have been found and been used and are out there, releasing Deadites and evil into the world. Now, in Army of Darkness, Ash gets his hands on the second Necronomicon, which means that second one is gone, because if you have not watched all of Ash versus Evil Dead, plug your ears right now. But the show got canceled, and the last episode, the last thing you see in the show is Ash is now in the future. And it's like cybernetic, flying cars, robots, future. Like he's in the future with the second Necronomicon and the first one. So now all that exists in our timeline is the third book. So it makes it easy for, Bruce Campbell saying he's never going to be Ash again. We don't have to expect that, because Ash is in the future. We'll never see him again. But the main character from the 2012 movie could very well come back. Like, we could have her come back. Yeah, she doesn't have the Necronomicon anymore, but the third one still exists. So she, in my opinion, she could be our new Ash.
Mm.
The book is
I feel like
open by some...
it could go either way.
Right. I don't see Beth rocks. Don't get me wrong. I like Beth. Yeah. I don't see her full on going Ash like I do. It's gonna drive me nuts. I can't remember her name from the 2012 movie. Anyways, beside the point. But I see her more she's missing the hand. She cuts her hand off. Like, she's gone full Ash at this point in time. So we're down 2 books and we have the third. So upside is there's 2 less Necronomicons in our timeline. But this was Lee Cronin, the guy who wrote and directed this movie. He even said, he's like, this could open a universe. And he kind of left it at that, which I think was a smart move, instead of like showing his hand too soon, being like, I saw what happened with Fede Alvarez's movie, maybe it won't work out. Yeah. And it's a shame that Fede wasn't able to make the next 2 movies that he had planned out, which were pretty cool, seeing as that the main character from the 2012 movie was going to be revealed to be Ash Williams' niece. Yeah. So it sucks that it didn't get that far, but it's also kind of good, because I don't know if this movie would have happened, honestly. Yeah. I'm glad it did. Yeah, I think it's the best horror movie I've seen that's come out this year so far.
So where would you rate this? 1 out of 10 cheese graters. How many cheese graters would Evil Dead Rise get for you?
I'm gonna shoot just slightly low. I want to give it a second watch, because it's always on that second watch where you either figure out that you fully love it or you hate it. Yeah. But by low, I mean I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Damn it. Yeah. So I mean, it was that good.
9, I'm scared to know what your perfect movie's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, this did so much to feed back. Like, it was fan service without being fan service. Like, there are certain movies that are nothing but fan service. And at this point in time in cinema, sometimes the fan service it doesn't translate well. Godzilla versus Kong. I love that movie, but that movie is nothing but fan service the entire time. And when
same with No Way Home.
Yeah, and like just certain things just don't pan out the way they're supposed to pan out. But with this one, it was like it was a head nod and a head nod, and like nothing ever went like they weren't spoon feeding you everything you were hoping to have. They kind of gave you a little bit and then just pulled back and went where they wanted to go with it.
You're not sitting there expecting some form of continuity for it to connect to the rest of the universe. It's its own thing. It doesn't have to be like, and then Ash kicks open the door and takes care of the rest of the Deadites. It's its own thing.
No. And yeah, I mean, it definitely did the right thing. I think Lee played it very safely with writing the script. He gave us an amazing new Evil Dead film, where it could very well build into something, but if it doesn't, it was still a great film.
Yeah.
So
still a great installment on its own. Might not need anything else.
Yeah. So 0 to 10 cheese graters. Where do you land on this one?
Because like you pointed out a lot of stuff that I had no clue and no idea about, but I would still say I don't think it could ever top any of the originals personally, but
no, got it.
I would say because it's strange, Army of Darkness is probably my favorite of the originals.
I love Army.
Yeah, but I would say it would probably be an 8.5. Yeah. 8.5 cheese.
So we're pretty close.
Hell yeah. Again,
that's awesome.
We were talking about this in our own conversation, but I want to find a movie that I love, you hate, and vice versa, and see where we sit on those.
That's going to be a long moment of like brainstorming. Let's just sit down and just spitball our favorites.
You're wrong. Scream 6 is great.
No, it's not.
Boom! Trailer for the next episode.
Those episodes are going to be so unhinged.
Yeah. And probably shorter than Instagram will allow.
Yeah, I'll just walk out.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome. Nope.
I changed my mind. I don't like this anymore. All right. So that's our first episode, dude. How do you feel?
It works. I love it.
I do want to give a thank you to a friend of ours that doesn't know that I'm going to be thanking them, but Chris O'Brockie. If you don't know who Chris is a professional merman. He's also an amazing horror actor, great just a great all-around guy. He does Mer Mondays, and he does them here on Instagram, and it's this style. I tune in and watch him from time to time when he does those, and I just thought it was a cool idea. I was like, wow, I don't know, I never thought about doing a stream on Instagram, but he does it. So using Instagram for that is solely because of Chris O'Brockie. So thank you, Chris, for just being yourself and giving me the idea to use Instagram for this.
And let's not forget the main reason that we know each other and all of that, and possibly one of the major inspirations as well for this is Camp Nightmare. If you're not following Nightmare, go follow Camp Nightmare. Go listen to them wherever you listen to your podcasts. Two cool dudes you can literally feel like you're sitting down and having a conversation with, except only them talking to you. So,
yeah, you can find them on their Camp Nightmare's on every place you can get your podcasts.
Right. Let me see if I could tag them in the comments.
Yeah.
Oops.
But they're there. If you want more of their content too, you can go to campnightmare.com. They have their own website. You can listen to past episodes there. They also have like separated. They do these awesome campfire tales. They have a Patreon. If you donate like a specific amount there, they'll write a story for you. I have a story written about me.
I have a story written about me. This time.
So, yeah. One is The Loneliest Number. I have probably the most depressing, story. But yeah, so Jason, Michael, and I we're acquaintances who have become basically brothers. Like we've only hung out a handful of times, but it's all thanks to Camp Nightmare. Like, thank you so much, JB. Thank you so much, Jordan. Thank you, Bree. Like, without the camp fam, like, this is what we are. This is the fam here. We're chatty horror fanatics who are just big adult nerds. And
with the logo on our leg.
Yes, we both have
We
the
are
logo.
those two.
And if you don't believe either of us, you can go to our Instagrams.
Yeah.
There are pictures. But yeah, so this was awesome for episode 1 of Spoiler Sleepover.
Do we want to give a teaser at the end of each one and say what the next episode's going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we kind of already hinted at it. So this conversation mainly started from a couple of nights ago where I asked to borrow Rob's Paramount so I could watch the latest installment of the Scream franchise. So episode 2, Scream 6. Oh, God.
So the next episode's going to be much different energy.
Yeah.
Like, this was like a lot of yay, and next episode's going to be a lot of why. Just why.
Son of a bitch. I can change the lights with the mood of every single movie, so that one's just going to be dark blue and sad.
I was going to say the same thing. It'll just be blue or green, just this darkest green with anger and envy.
It's a 2-second video of just saying this movie's.
Yeah.
Never mind. Spoilers. Wait, I'm spoiling our own spoil? I don't know anymore.
Yeah. We can spoil whatever we want. If we're spoiling our own show, whatever. It's called Spoiler Sleep.
You damn right.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you, literally everybody, for tuning in. Oh yeah, thank you, Sean Cochran, dude. Thank you for posting and like getting the word out there. Also,
thank you, Sean.
We got our friends from Texas. We've got friends from California. Both of us are in New Hampshire. I mean, we got friends all over. All of our friends from Maryland. Thank you, everybody, for joining for this first episode.
Love it.
And we'll be back.
Friends and you tuned in too. It was awesome.
We'll be back next week, same time, same day, Sunday, 7 p.m. for Scream 6. So if you haven't watched it, watch it. If you don't want to watch it and just want us to tell you what the movie was, you know where to come.
That's your own prerogative. Welcome to the sleepover.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming over and having a sleepover with us tonight. See you later.
Later, buddy.